This is the iBuyer Experiment Podcast, how technology is changing real estate, with your hosts, Kayla Leos, Jason Leos, Keith Howard, and Elliot Tomaszewski. Please consider subscribing so you're notified when we launch new podcasts. Let's go,
guys.
What is up today?
Yes, welcome to another Zoodealio podcast.
Yeah, we've got a smorgasbord of topics for you today. Little this, little that, all kinds of things going on in the industry. That's just
I like how your voice changes when you get online. You're like,
oh yeah, I get my
What's up? Yeah, let's
get
go.
my podcast voice.
I think we all do that to some extent. What is up, you
I
guys?
didn't even notice that I
welcome
did
to
that.
the iBuyer Experiment. It's not the Zoodealio podcast. It's the iBuyer Experiment. We're brought to you by Zoodealio.
Who said Zoodealio?
Keith.
Oh,
Hey, gotta throw a plug every now and
He's
then.
excited.
That's
about
right.
it. He's
Throw a
excited
plug.
about it.
Of course, we're excited about it because we are single-handedly empowering the real estate agent to stay competitive in this changing market where we have conglomerates with billions of dollars coming in to disrupt the most untapped industry that exists. Something interesting, you guys, I want to share right off the bat is apparently the real estate industry is the largest undisrupted market in the entire U.S. at $1.6 trillion
Wow.
a year.
with a T.
How much is a trillion? That's like 1,000 billion, right? And a billion's 1,000 million.
Yeah, what is that?
It's-
That's
I
12
just-
figers.
I can't
isn't it?
even.
That's so much. I
Yeah.
even have to
It's
think
a
of it. It is.
lot
It's
of
12
money.
figures.
Just a couple extra zeros. But, you want to compare that to the used automobile industry per year is 800 billion. So we are double at 1.6 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
So when you want to take a deeper dive into that, why? Well, the real estate industry is extremely fragmented, or as you'll hear me say, because I just love this word, it's disenfranchised. There are 2 million realtors, and get this, 28%, almost a third of realtors have a full-time other job.
I know that 28%.
Shaking my head.
What is up?
Well, that's why it's so disenfranchised.
Well, yeah, they just obviously aren't taking their job serious. The opportunity serious, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's not working a process, not working your database, right? Which is all things that we look to empower and change and give back to the agent.
Well, and if you think about that statistic that you just said, I mean, what do we know? The number one complaint by the consumer is the lack of communication from their agent.
My agent won't pick up the phone. Why? Because they're at a job. They're working somewhere else.
Before
They're 9 to 5.
I've worked with an agent that had a full-time job, but I was ignorant. I was in my early 20s, right when I was diving in to real estate here, doing short sales with Elliot, and I still had my house in New Mexico. So I put it on the market, just got a referral from somebody, and I would sometimes try to get hold of him, and he at least was, forthright with me, but one of his responses would be, "Oh, sorry, I just got off of work." So he was
You got off of
a
work.
furniture salesman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doing it all, right? Doing it
Trying
all.
to trying to bridge
And
it, which I'm
that was my
not
first-
hating, right? Because there's people
Right.
that want to get into the business, and in order to cross the chasm, they have to pay the bills, got to take care of the kids, electric,
But
things
the problem
like
is
that.
that's what's fueling Zillow, Opendoor, all these big billion-dollar companies that are coming in.
Well, just ripe
and
for
they're
disruption.
systematizing it. And what's going on? The consumers, they like that. They like that. They don't want to call and be like, my agent or the person that's selling my house is at work
Now, okay, let's back
selling
up.
a couch.
Let's back up, though, because we do have realtors here at JK Realty that have a full-time job, and they do maybe 1 or 2 deals a year, and they do a great job. They
Absolutely.
really, really
No, I'm
do.
not saying they- I'm
we're
saying
not going to
all
hate. We're
agents
not
like
hating
that.
on you,
No, not at all.
part-timers.
Yeah, well, there's
I mean,
guy's a Gilbert Kopp, right?
yeah, absolutely. His wife, though, is
Sure,
full-time, so-
that's a different balance situation.
Right.
So.
But so I'm not hating on them, but I think
No.
what's important to highlight is, like Jason just said, it's fueling the open doors, the offer pads. Let's talk about Redfin. You want to talk about agent productivity. I thought this was really interesting. In 2019, the average Redfin agent did 34 transactions a year for about 20 million.
Right,
in
run that
sales
by me one more
volume.
time.
killing it.
Because I know you had mentioned that before. And
Yes.
That's average too. That's not
The
even
average
like,
Redfin agent did
that's average.
30.
So there's probably some of them are doing 50, 60 a year.
34 transactions.
34 transactions.
That is
yeah.
correct.
My goodness.
Okay, so you want to compare and contrast that number here. What I thought was really interesting is a Compass agent, right? And Compass agents are generally well respected. They do good work. They're productive. The average Compass agent did 6.
6. Wow.
Okay, so we've got a stark contrast here, and I think that what's happening is if you look at, let's just think
just
about
for our
this.
viewers,
Well, that's roughly
if they're
what,
not, if you're not
20%?
an agent, a Redfin agent is a full-time employee.
That's correct.
Right.
They're on a W-2 pay structure.
Correct.
So they're not running their own business. They work for Redfin.
Yeah, well,
That's
that
correct.
system and process that we were just mentioning is forced upon them through their employer.
Correct.
So what do you think, though? If you are a consumer, would you rather work with an agent that's had 34 at-bats or one that's had 6?
No brainer.
I don't know. It depends. It actually depends. I think some people like a very hard negotiator. Is Redfin, if they're doing 36 and they're only making $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, whereas I can work with someone that does 50 on a team and makes 500,000, but they are hard negotiators because.
But now you're talking
they're-
about the top 1% again.
You're talking about like, do I work with a hard negotiator to get the top value in my home, or do I work with a Redfin agent that is talking to 15 other people and is just like, oh, I want to get this done so I can get on to the next deal because I have to get, I got to do all these deals, right? Like, yeah, this is a great deal, take it. I think you should. If you counter, they may not accept it, and then you're not going to be able to. Do they really want to negotiate the highest price? Or
Well, the consumers, it's starting to be about the bottom line for them, as we were just talking about a moment ago, right? So what about in a Redfin situation where they give you some of the commission back, or a Homey where they give you some of the commission back, right? Like, there's incentivization. So those negotiations
do they
are
really
coming.
want to get the most out of your house, or do they really want to get it closed as fast as possible?
I think your point's a
because
good
they
argument.
have to do a lot of deals to actually make money.
So you're saying that maybe the fiduciary is better.
Absolutely. I mean, come on, these agents that are employees that are making $60,000-$70,000 a year compared to an agent that can make $250,000-$300,000 by hustling hard, are they really going to be working for you that well?
Well, I mean, you're
That's a
making
valid
you're
argument. I don't
making
know.
an assumption. You're making an assumption that money is the only motivator for someone to do a job well done. And I have to disagree with that because I personally am not the type that's, yes, I am money motivated. I love the benefits of doing well and being successful, but money is not the motivator for my success. And so maybe for you it is, Jason, but for me it's a little bit different. Like, I also like doing a really great job. I like being the best. I like being a pioneer. I like, right, exactly.
Well, what is it? The three top motivating factors.
But those
of
types of
mankind?
people are not working for a W-2 employee. They want to be the best. They're going to be working for themselves, right? They're not working for Redfin.
I don't know. I know this is a great
Because
debate.
that's not the best.
It's a great debate.
You're not the best if you're working for
it's
Redfin.
money, recognition, and security. Those are supposedly the three top motivating things of mankind. So we just covered two of the three.
And
I mean,
would-
recognition, to me, I mean, I'm with you. Recognition is a very big one for
And
me.
I would bet you that the top one for a Redfin agent is security.
I bet it is because, yep.
So if you're
It's
working
not
with,
recognition or money.
but if you're
So
working with
security.
someone who's about security, they're probably also very analytical and cautious. And those might be things that behoove a consumer when you're dealing with a transaction. I don't know, just playing devil's advocate.
You should just accept that counter. Don't be overly risky there, because
Yep.
you
Do
know
the deal. A
if
bird in the hand is better than two in the
negotiate-
bush.
Negotiate $20,000 more for that consumer. It may not come out right for you. So just take the deal.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I think another thing that's changing, in our industry right now that it's just crazy to me, even in my roughly 15 years, and I'm sure you guys can too, and even in your 10 years of doing this, we've seen this change so much, is the data, right? It's just out there everywhere now. I mean, anything and everything that you want, right? Like, the agents used to be able to control the narrative, control the market.
Democratized.
Yep, it is just out there, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we are seeing these conglomerate companies coming in and being able to put pressure, because they are digitizing the entire industry and through systems, through software. So
you guys, can I read you something that was posted in a Facebook group?
sure. Please.
I gotta find it though. I took a screenshot of it.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. It is. This is interesting. This is what I think that if you're listening to this podcast, these are the sorts of things that you're thinking, and so I'm just going to read it to you. All right. This was posted in Lab Coat Agents, and there are I don't even know how many agents are in this private group at Facebook, but there's tens of thousands. It says, I'm concerned about being pushed out of the market by Zillow. They are now their own real estate company and are coming soon to the East Coast. So this agent's obviously in the East Coast. They're now buying and selling through their own company. And if you're not on the team, where does that leave you? They're now getting the exact feed, playing into the data that you were just talking about, Elliot, to the Massachusetts realtors to have real-time feeds, which was really the only advantage we had over them.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I've been a Premier agent for 10 years, and I get a lot of deals through them, but I'm concerned about those who
Those days are
don't.
limited.
Yep, they're going away.
Check it. Are we being eliminated? Question mark. Very scary for our industry. I feel like the Realtor Association sold us out. Completely wrong.
Nope.
I would like to know what others have heard or experienced, as I'm concerned about us being eliminated like travel agents.
What
Sad
forum
face.
was that? Because I feel like I've read that too.
Lab Coat Agents.
Lab Coat. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's a eloquent, good write up, right? And I think she makes a lot of really good points in there. You know, I mean, and those are worries.
Yeah, I think that there are concerns. I think that everybody's feeling this pinch, like you just talked about. You know, people are there's just this point where they see these offers that are so attractive, and a relationship is great. But when they're being told by Homey, you can sell my house for only $2,500, like what is it, dodo birds,
and
dinosaurs, and 6% commissions,
Yep.
and you're being programmed to think that there's no value in a real estate agent other than that commission.
And if you buy a house with us, we'll kick you back $5,000, right? So I mean, there's true, tangible incentivizations from these conglomerate companies.
Yep, and I know one of our big topics on our last podcast was talking about the iBuyers and how they're shifting and marketing to consumers and even agents. I had my wife submit a property, that she owns to Opendoor because they had changed their process so much with the realtor. You have to go to your client's house and do a walkthrough video of every single room in the house. AC unit, electrical panel, you have to turn your fan on when you enter the room so they can probably see that the fan works and the lights. Just super strict stuff. And I know Kayla was skeptical, like there's no way they're going to make the consumer to do that. That's just them for the agent, which that's going to become less attractive for the agent to have to, go through those hurdles. Well, they're doing it for the consumers too. It's actually, in my personal perspective, based on being a part of or hearing the conversation, it's actually harder for the consumer because she wouldn't, the customer service rep at Opendoor would not allow her to do the walkthrough video without them being live with them over the phone.
Wow.
And, she had stated, we dedicate 20 to 30 minutes to do this with us.
Wow.
Then schedule for somebody to do an exterior inspection. Then we can come up with the final evaluation on a cash offer and then show you, if you wanted to list your property on the open market, what that would look like. So I don't know, maybe some people, I get why Opendoor is doing it from a psychological perspective of building relationships with those clients. I mean, for goodness sakes, you talk with somebody for that long, it's probably going to be easier to convert them to put their house on the open market.
Why? Because the consumer invested.
Yeah,
Right.
That's right.
They invested how many hours to do that?
How many consumers are really going to want to do that?
I have a question.
Now it's not simple anymore.
Well, I think they will because they trust the brand now.
Yeah.
Now that they've seen the brand.
I have a question,
time
though.
will tell,
let's
right?
face
Not
it.
as many as just getting an offer, I don't think, but I think there will be a lot of consumers that go, oh, okay. They'll go this and they'll do the video, right? Mm-hmm. And they get the video done. But then it's like, okay, then now we do the exterior. And then like, or I've already invested this.
And they're showing that they're experts
And
at that point too.
Keith, can you share with us what the rep for Opendoor shared with your wife about the cash offer and how
Yeah, good one.
Right. One of the questions that was kind of asked up front, why did you submit to Opendoor? What are you looking to accomplish to get out of this? And she kind of mentioned some things. Is it time, getting the most, money, all those types of things. And, my wife had just answered, convenience, but also still getting,
as much money as possible.
And she was just curious what a cash offer would look like. And, but she's not going to.
It's no commitment.
Yeah. But I'm not going to take something like too low, kind of setting that expectation up front with that rep. And the rep then had shared, well, I don't know if these were the exact words, but this is pretty much what she said. We've found that most consumers, when they see the cash offer versus the open market, they realize that how much more money they can get in such a short amount of time listing it, and then you'll be able to compare those together.
I wonder how much of this is because of the FTC or the SEC. I can't remember, was it
It's
FTC?
the FTC. Yeah, I
FTC.
actually that
FTC,
thought
yeah.
just
Because
ran through my head.
now do they? I wonder if
They're
if they
doing some
show now
process
the
in
offer
in
now if it
yeah, they're
says
building
market
their
offer
case.
anymore. I bet you it doesn't say market offer
Right,
anymore.
they had
Now
to pivot.
Right.
they're saying, hey, we got to pivot now because they're on to us. We can't say market offer because we know it's not the market offer. So now we got to change the process to build more of a relationship with the consumer and then list their house.
Well, through the strength in numbers.
How many listings do you think Opendoor will have?
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
Like this time next year, how
Oh
many
my
listings
gosh.
on the market do you think they'll have?
Well-
like regular listings, like
Time will tell. That's all.
So
that's my response.
I can speak for myself in this, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember what year it was, but I remember there was a year that I did 106 listing appointments, and it was massive during the short sale thing. Like I would never go to the house; they always had to come to the office, right? And like it was just like, I mean, you were a part of a lot of that. There was times that I'd have 3 or 4 listing appointments in one day where they came in, and it was always short sale, right? It was like years where I did the only transactions that we did were short sales, and it was very systematized, it was very processed, and they either chose in or they didn't, right? I was okay with it in that particular in that essence, and because of that, it showed that there was confidence, there was a system, there was a process, and that they had a need and we were filling it. This is the exact same type of thing, just like when you go to the doctor's office, just like when you get ready to jump onto an airplane, right? There's a system and a process that we have to go through that's not easy, that's not always comfortable, but we know that we're going to get to our destination safely.
So I think that when you have a W-2 model and you're paying real estate agents to show up at 8 o'clock and to do A, B, and C, and et cetera, it's easy to have that system and process, something that we had talked about. And if you're a real estate agent and you're listening, you may want these great systems and process, but you may not have the transactional volume. So it just kind of feels like you can really never get that implemented. And so what would our advice be to agents that are looking to really systematize their business? What would be one thing we'd all share with them?
Well, I mean,
stick with it.
Well, plan the work the plan, right? I know that sounds cliche as far as that goes, but the more consistent you can get in making your contacts, following up with your contacts, and then what value are you going to bring to those people, right? I mean, we definitely have turned into an industry where it's no longer just relationship. We have to bring value.
Absolutely.
Well, it's hard to pin just one thing because what might work for me, someone else may not enjoy. I personally do not enjoy open houses, and some people are absolutely phenomenal with it, and that's where they get most of their business. So if somebody were to tell me to do that, I would. So for me, I would say dabble in 3 to 5 things and
Prospecting activities.
Figure out.
Find out what works for you.
Well, what's most enjoyable to you? What you
Fair.
enjoy,
Okay.
you're gonna do better at.
Sure.
Or you'll actually do it.
Yeah, just like you have some JK agents that just crush it on social media. I'm not that good at it. Not because I can't do it, but I've never been the whole social media, put myself, face out there.
Yeah, but you're a bare knuckle business guy because
Right.
that's how you were raised in the business.
Yeah, that would be my advice is if you haven't tried something new, try something new and be like, man, I really enjoyed that and it's working for me. And then that you go all out on that.
So
Yeah.
well, let's touch
Well,
on
and
the value.
I think sometimes though is maybe you don't enjoy any of it. But here's the thing:
That's true.
you got to just do it, right? And you have to get to the point to where it is enjoyable, and you do you're just consistent with it, because consistency always wins. So you just have to be consistent.
Well, so let's face it. There's a why the four of us have started working together. There's a why we're in this room having this podcast. So and that is bringing value to the agents, right? So let's touch on that. But because of all this venture capital, because of all these conglomerates that have come into the space, the dynamic has changed forever.
Yep.
So what is that value that we're bringing that Zoodealio brings to that agent by working and partnering with Zoodealio that's come into the marketplace? What value is that to the agent?
Well, I think that for me, what I saw is a seismic shift occurring in the industry, right? We've been in real estate since 2003. We mainly opened our brokerage for just Jason and myself in 2007. We were very successful in the REO space. We then decided to grow a real estate brokerage and train real estate agents. We had a lot of success in that arena. But what I saw the seismic shift occurring. Yep. And we all came together and said, look, we've got to do something to stand up for the real estate agent, because nobody else is doing it, right? Yep. Opendoor doesn't care about the real estate agent. OfferPad doesn't care about the real estate agent.
It's their competitor.
Zillow doesn't care about the real estate agent. But we all are passionate about keeping us at front and center, because yes, there are a lot of them that need to just go, right? We need to have a cleansing
well, it is. Yeah, but there's also people like those agents that are one deal a year that still has to have the 9 to 5, that by working with Zoodealio, they're full of hustle. If they can now take that 9 to 5 mentality and plug it into working with products like Zoodealio's bringing to the marketplace, our platform that's going to elevate their skill set and just deliver an 11-star experience to their client.
That's right. So we wanted something that would just keep us relevant, keep us front and center, and take our power back, because we've built this industry. All of us have.
Right. Well, like the Trade-In Plus here, and I know we only got a couple minutes left, but like the Trade-In Plus, real quick, like Keith, from like the buy side of the Trade-In Plus, tell me, what value does that bring to the agent? How it's a differentiator, so now they can go up against Opendoor, Redfin, Zillow, all of them. They can take them on. Right.
Well, it gives them the ability to provide value to their clients where they need it the most, especially in our market locally, but also what's happening all across the nation. When you can have a value proposition, and buy their property on their behalf in cash, then that allows them to maybe not have to put in 10 offers in houses and lose properties
or overpay 20 grand over list.
Right. Yeah. And because that's no longer makes the process fun, if you keep losing.
Oh.
So now our trade-in gives them the ability to move whenever they want and get the next house, which is going to make it significantly easier for the agent to negotiate on their behalf and for the client. And it's going to, just be a much more enjoyable experience for everybody involved.
Yeah. And Jay, on the selling side, what value does that bring in the Trade-In Plus product?
Really, it's the upside agreement, right? Because it allows them to sell right away, but then also not lose their market offer, right? Because most people are like, well, if I sell to Opendoor and they're going to give me this money, I get it now. But Opendoor is going to go.
Get my equity.
Opendoor is going to go and sell it for more, where I could have sold it for more. Whereas with our trade-in, Trade-In Plus, the upside agreement, it allows you to get that money back once we sell it.
Well,
now we do have a charge for that. There's a smaller charge.
But the consumer knows that there's going to be a price. There's always a price for convenience. And I think that actually now that Opendoor and Zillow and OfferPad have made their processes more cumbersome, I think that our product is going to empower agents even better, because the consumer wants these cash offers now, right? So the consumer is hooked on this. This is their crack. They want their crack. They want their cash offer.
Yep.
And Zoodealio is going to be able to purvey that via the agent's own site, their own branded landing page. It looks like theirs. It's white labeled. It's completely their own site.
Well, it's the agent iBuyer, right? And the last thing I'll add that's such a huge benefit to the agents is that they're going to get a full commission in these circumstances. So now you bring the certainty, you bring the convenience, you hit on all these topics, and we're not giving you a haircut, paying you 1% like a lot of these other rubbish
Well,
iBuyers.
commissions aren't fixed, y'all. Let's make sure.
So I said a full commission.
Well,
whatever you deem that to be is you.
We feel it's a very competitive commission.
Yeah. And more times than not in the industry, that is 6%. That is something that's safe to say. You can say it when it's more times than not. This is what we typically see.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll wrap it up. Zoodealio, stay tuned. Coming soon to you.
iBuyer experiment. We out.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today on the iBuyer Experiment podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you're notified when we launch new podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one.
Show you the money.